So Annie Costable has just basically confirmed what I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, and teams don't. Not even teams. Like the fans seem to think that this is a situation that is just not only not going to happen, but never going to happen and not going to affect anyone. It is the entire situation with the developmental contracts, especially when it comes to the Indiana Fever surrounding one Justine Passat, who is a very, very interesting player. And this is something that we all knew a while ago, that there's a 14-day period where once you sign a developmental contract, you cannot be signed by another team. But once that 14-day period is gone, which is tomorrow or Friday for Justine Passat, if we're not 100% sure. And by the way, she's probably not going to be signed to a full contract on Friday. But after that, any team can sign her. So this is what she says. An interesting wrinkle in the developmental spots is that outside teams who have an opening their 12-player roster can opt to sign a DP from another team. The team has 24 hours to respond and match. What if the home team has no cap space to sign a developmental player within the 24 hours? My understanding is that they would lose the player. They cannot say no. Yeah, they cannot say no. So basically, you have to, within 24 hours, find the cap space. So, and by the way, this is a good rule for the players because it's not like the developmental players are getting paid their rookie contract. If they were, it's one thing. But when it comes to developmental players, they are getting paid a stipend. They're getting paid they're getting paid $750 a week to be a member of the team. They don't travel with the team. They get paid $6,000 for every game they play. And from what we have heard, I could be wrong with this, Amber Cox has no intention of calling up a developmental player to the Indiana Fever. That they would rather wait until they have 10 players and call up a vet on a hardship. They would rather wait it out. They have no intention of calling up and using those 12 games. Yes, you can play 12 games, which I think it maxes out at like $70,000 or something. You could get paid. But if you're the Indiana Fever, where basically they've been told, yeah, we're not calling anyone up. And it's one of those things where obviously that's what they're being told. You've then got a situation where the players are basically, if you're a Justine Passat, you are currently trying to show out for another team. And I tweeted this out. The Mercury are absolutely going to be doing this, by the way. It's basically giving them 2 free second-round picks when they use both of their draft picks on stashes. Mercury was still Passat, the exact type of player they like. Yeah. And do you want to know what else happened with the Phoenix Mercury today? That is why I'm saying, first of all, the Mercury only have 8 players that are definitely going to make their roster. And one of those 8 is in a knee brace and on crutches. So this is a team that has cap space. And by the way, like, if you're the Seattle Storm and you want to sign her, you want to sign Justine Passat, and then you can still cut them. Like, you can still cut them, by the way. So what can happen is that, let's say hypothetically, Seattle, Katie Lou's out for a while, someone else out for a while. They're like, look, we'll sign Justine Passat, and if it doesn't work out, we'll go and cut Justine Passat. We can cut Justine Passat and then sign another player, another another developmental player from another team and give her a shot. And then in 48 hours, if no one signs Passat, another team can sign her to a developmental deal. That's kind of the way it works. Like, from what it seems like, these developmental slots are not, these developmental contracts are barely worth the paper they're written on. All it is it gives you, they are practice players and it gives you the right of first refusal. Especially initially, these are not like G League contracts. These developmental contracts, people don't understand it. They are barely worth the paper they're written on. If you are a player on a developmental deal, I think there are players refusing developmental contracts because you can make way more going off and playing in Mexico. I genuinely think there are players refusing them. And with Kat Westbeld, who's Kat Westbeld? She is a 6'3" shooting center. And Justine Passat is not a shooting center. But one of the expected roster spots for the for the Mercury was going to be Ashton Prechtel. So what's going to happen? Kat Westbeld, who is injured, the likelihood is that they're going to go and sign. They're going to sign, like most of these players aren't going to make the team. Gilly Aileen won't make the team. It's probably between Gilly Aileen and signing a Justine Pissot. And by the way, Pissot might not be the player they take, but at the same time. Like, Lattimore from Chicago might be a developmental pool player. But you got to look at the types of players that this team likes. They like size, they like shooting. And ironically, there were four players that a lot of people in pre-draft grouped in the same category. It was Maggie Dugan, Yarden Garzone, Justine Pissot, and Martha Suarez. A lot of people grouped those four players together, and Pissot was taken above two of them. But if you're looking at this team right here, you're like, who the hell are these guys? Basically, 1, 2, 3. Westbeld will make the team. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in Sammy Wickham that are going to guaranteed to make the team. And then, obviously, that includes Prechtel. So suddenly then you've got 3 spots to fill out your roster, and they probably take Linskins. And it's a choice. Do you take an undrafted rookie? And by the way, Cara Dunn might make it. In fairness, she's been doing really well. But do you take an undrafted rookie, or do you bring in Justine Pissot, who fits exactly what you like? You slot in Ashton Prechtel into the role that Kat Westbeld played. And you're saying, why would they start this player? She hasn't played a WNBA game, and she's like in her mid-20s. Kat Westbeld was a 28-year-old rookie last year and started game 1. It is a stylistic thing with the way the Mercury play, with the way Nate Tibbetts plays. It's about style. And size and shooting is all he likes, is all he wants. He will play size and shooting. Based on everything, again, this coming out now, Kat Westbeld getting hurt, the Mercury are going to, I'm saying this right now, the Mercury are going to take at least one player from another team's developmental pool. I don't know what other teams will, but teams will. Especially tanking teams. If they see a high upside player like a Lattimore, if they see a high upside player like a Pissot, if they see a high upside player, by the way, if somehow KK Timpson managed to find her way onto Indiana's developmental pool, someone would take KK Timpson as well. They have essentially just confirmed that, you know what, yeah, this is... And the fact that a lot of people are talking about this at the same time, I think the New York Liberty are very concerned that they might lose Marine Photo. So Marine Photo is the starting point guard for France. She starts over Leila Khan. She plays over Pauline Astier. Because they're just like, okay, cool, we're going to try sign Marine Photo. The players can't refuse. And then you're either going to have to cut Rebecca Gardner or cut Pauline Astier, and then we'll go and sign Pauline Astier. Like, if you're the Connecticut Sun, you do need that backup point guard instead of Charlize Ledger Walker, I'm immediately going to the New York Liberty and trying to steal Marie Photo. Because she's there on she's a starting point guard for France, and you get her on a 4-year deal. And then if they go and cut Pauline Astier for Photo, cool, we'll take Pauline Astier. She was meant to come here. Reporters said it was a done deal. She was coming here. Cool, we'll take Pauline Astier. She's now our backup point guard. Pissot's not the only player that's involved in this, but there's going to be more. And teams are going to, by the way, start stealing developmental players, especially the tanking teams. If tanking teams lose a player to injury, they can essentially steal second-round picks. And heck, there might be a first-round pick that ends up in a developmental slot somewhere. You just never know. You just never know. But I cannot stress this enough. These developmental contracts are barely worth the paper they're printed on. Because in the vast majority of situations, the team who has a high upside player on a developmental contract very rarely has the ability to match said developmental contract with salary. The only way, again, the Fever can do it is by cutting Shatori Walker-Kimbrough or Demiris Dantas. And they're not going to do it. Maybe they cut Walker-Kimbrough. They don't want to do it. Their hand might be forced and they might keep Justine Pissot, but they don't want to. That's very clear. oh damn, I like this. WNBA rules adding Uno flair. It's going to get messy. But yes, developmental players will get stolen. I don't know if we can call it stealing, but whatever you want to call this, they will get stolen. Anyway, see you guys.